Their playoff odds, by the way, are up to 43.5%. That might not even be the column to pay attention to anymore. I look a little to the right of that column on Fangraphs, which is not crashing this computer. It was crashing my computer left and right yesterday.
I think it took down our whole network yesterday.
They are at 1.7% to win the World Series.
1.7.
So keep an eye on the Fangraphs odds. I know that they do here at Fenway Park. That's one thing we can get into with all your phone calls here on Jones and Mego with Arcand today. We can also get into our big question of the day. Who and what is the biggest story of the Red Sox season thus far? Your options, the hero last night, Jarren Duran, who was wearing his weei-fm t-shirt, which he explained was, for other people who struggle with mental health. He gave a detailed answer on some of his struggles on foul territory. Maybe we'll play that for you coming up. But I think that's an interesting side story, sidebar with Jarren Duran, just what he's had to overcome in the big leagues and in his personal life, mental health struggles to get to where he's at. So he's an option. Tanner Houck, not his greatest night last night, but in the mix for the Cy Young, could start the All-Star game for the American League. Alex Cora has managed the Red Sox to, again, 10 out of their last 12. They've won 3 straight. They sit in the third wild card position. Or Craig Breslow, who put the roster together, quote unquote. Mego, how'd you vote?
So, as you said, he didn't have the best night last night, but I'm going with Tanner Houck. The numbers alone are just astounding. WHIP this season is 0.97 compared to 1.37 last year. ERA through 12 games is 2.18, a little bit up from when I mentioned it yesterday, but that's compared to 5.01 in 16 games last year. He's healthy, which coming into last season, he was coming off of a back injury and then obviously got smacked in the face and missed significant time. His pitching just looks radically different. I don't know if you credit Andrew Bailey for that, but I did, there's certain stats that I come across or little mentions. You get them after NBA games with Jason Tatum all the time. But there are these stats where you go, that's kind of arbitrary and annoying. Like, why are we making this special? But I did like this one from Red Sox Stats, and it's a couple days old, so it doesn't include last night.
I'm blocked, so if you could reveal that to me, that'd be great. Thank you.
So it says, with Tanner Houck throwing 5 2/3 innings on Tuesday, so this is last week, he joined Pedro Martinez from 1999 and 2000 and Roger Clemens in 92 as the 3 most recent Red Sox pitchers to go at least 5 2/3 innings in each of their first 15 starts. According to Red Sox Director of Baseball Communications and Media Relations, J.P. Long. I just think that shows you that it's not just that these numbers are condensed to these little outings that they're throwing him out there and then supplementing him with the bullpen or anybody else. He is putting in so much work and carrying the load for this team every time he's out there. If he makes the All-Star game, he'll be the first Red Sox starter in that game since Chris Sale in 2018. All that to say, they got.
I'm sorry, just clarify that. That's to pitch in the game or to start the game?
Start the game.
To start the game. Got it.
So all that to say, yeah, he's in contention for Cy Young and this other stuff, but I don't think we have really sat there after going through the Chris Sale seasons and injuries that we have to be able to appreciate having a real starter like this and somebody who's having a star season.
Okay, so Mego votes Tanner Houck. You can vote at Jones and Mego on Twitter. You can weigh in on the phone, 617-779-7937. What's been the story of the Red Sox season to this point? Arcand, how'd you vote?
I also voted for Tanner Houck, and I think that most of what Mego said is things that I was planning on saying, including the 5 2/3 thing, which is only 3 starts out of the 16. He's gone 5 2/3, and everything else has been more than that.
I'd feel worse about not knowing about that stat, but again, blocked.
He goes very deep into these games. He's been doing it all season long, in a season where pitchers are just dropping like flies left and right all over the league, but especially on this team too, where you had a great start to the year in April where everybody was just pitching their ass off, and all of a sudden people start dropping with injuries. Brian Bayo falls off a little bit, and who's holding the entire pitching staff up there for about a month and a half? It was Tanner Houck. He's been good the entire time. I think Jarren Duran, what he's doing right now, is really fun, and I'm really enjoying it, but it's really started to come on just this month. Tanner Houck has been awesome from the start of the year until last night. He was good again. I mean, he's just been about as consistent as you can possibly be. As Mego also pointed out, this really came out of nowhere. I don't think anybody was expecting him to make this kind of leap this season, even if you did like him and thought he had potential. A lot of people people still wanted him to come out of the bullpen.
I did.
I mean, yeah, listen, we said that about him. We said that about Whitlock. It would make more sense for these guys if they were just doing what they normally do.
I stand by my Whitlock take.
Put all the strain on the arm. You might be
We were
right about
50-50.
Whitlock. But we also said it about him. I mean, we got to fess up when we're wrong here, and we were wrong about Tanner Houck. He's a great starter. He's the best in the American League, maybe the entire league right now, and that's the biggest surprise. That's the biggest factor, I think.
Okay, well, so again, so the question was, unless I have it wrong, the biggest story, right? Was
Yeah.
so like a surprise.
I think Houck is the biggest story.
Okay, well, so surprise, I would have voted Houck, but the bigger story right now is Duran. Like, look at what he's doing. Like, Duran was an established player last year. I remember arguing early in the year, and I felt like I lost this argument, but maybe I'm back in it.
Hold on, you're admitting that you felt like you lost an
I've
argument?
most argument.
I have admitted how many things I've had wrong about the Celtics.
No. You've admitted that you're wrong on things. You've never admitted that you felt like you lost an
Well,
argument.
fine.
with Arcand.
Wrong take is what I mean. Cassis or Duran? We talked about that early in the year. Who would you rather have? Who's the bigger piece? I argued Duran. And so I don't know. I think I'm back. I think I'm back alive. So scratch me getting it wrong. I think I'm alive again. Yes, bigger piece. And so Cassis is more a center of the order hitter. I didn't know Duran was capable of this. A little bit of pop, a lot of speed, havoc on the bases. Maybe he's just red hot. Maybe he'll tail off. Mego thinks he will, but I think he's the biggest story because the atmosphere at Fenway Park last night, in part, large part, is related to the Celtics who were there. Definitely, I acknowledge that. But another piece to that is the energy that Duran is bringing to the team. This is
I think it was the baseball isn't boring T-shirt
could
that
be
got everybody going.
Could be, but let me hear Alex Cora briefly. This is a quick answer from him about the atmosphere in the ballpark. And in fairness, I listened to this. It was a bit of a leading question, leading him to 2021 in the ALCS that run. But here's what he said about the ballpark last night.
I think this is the most they've been into the game and loudest since 21, to be honest with you. And I don't blame them, right? We've been bad for 2 years.
Okay, so I like the acknowledgement that he's like, yeah, we suck. I don't blame them because I think people need to have that awareness sometimes.
Welcome back. We're just happy to have you here.
Yeah, and so the ballpark was loud. The ballpark was into it. People are excited as much as they can be in June about a baseball team in 2024. This is not 2003, 2004. This is 20 years ago where we lived and died on every game, April, May, June, whatever. In today's era with this team, that's about as much as you're going to see people into a baseball game. And yes, the Celtics had a lot to do with that, but I think Duran does too. And as I said yesterday, if you're going to get people on board and buying into this team, you're way more likely to do it because of someone like Jarren Duran, who plays every day and can impact the game every day. He did it again with defense last night. I literally said yesterday, I'm like, I don't know how much in center field his defense can make a difference. He had another great catch last night. Rafaela had a great play defensively. Hamilton had a really nice play at second base defensively last night. I think he can impact the game with his defense, but more so with his speed. And I think if you're going to get people to buy in, that's the key. That's why he's the story. So that's how I voted. You guys both voted for Tanner Houck. We just heard from Alex Cora. Would you have had Duran next on your list, or would Cora be next on the list for you? Because Houck would be next on the list for me after Duran.
I would say Cora is next for me, and I'm kind of surprised that nobody chose him.
Why do you hate Duran?
I don't hate Duran. What are you talking about?
Houck, Cora.
Well, I think Cora is a huge story throughout the entire season.
Who'd you have, Duran or Breslow next?
Breslow.
Okay.
Yeah, no. No, I'd go Duran after that.
Wally the Green
Cora
Monster.
he's one of the only leftovers from the last World Series team.
Isaiah Campbell.
He gets kicked out on probation or whatever, suspension you want to call it, and then he comes back, and he's supposed to be like this savior, and as he said there, the teams have sucked, and now he doesn't have a contract. We all think that he's walking in October. To me, the story is like, is there anything that can save this? That can save this marriage between the Red Sox front office and Cora? Because I think he likes this team. Like, I think he thinks they're kind of weird and they're young and they're kind of like misfitty. But you get the sense that he likes it and he likes what they're doing and he likes how they're growing and learning and it all makes sense. But I don't know how he feels about Craig Breslow. And I don't know if it even matters how he feels about Craig Breslow, because I wonder if he went through the Hein Bloom experience and he goes, I don't believe anything that ownership is going to tell me if they're telling me something that they think I want to hear and I'm not going to see it in action with the payroll.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. At the very least, you can say, well, Breslow and him were teammates, so they have some kind of relationship.
I had teammates I didn't like.
Okay, but yeah,
maybe you didn't.
Well, and real quick,
Hein Bloom,
wasn't Cora asked early on about like Breslow, and he's like, yeah, I didn't really know him. But it was like a very cold answer. So like I don't know that they're great or were great when they were on the team. Maybe that may not be that they were bad. They were not friendly.
Like, oh yeah, nerd.
Yeah, but it was just like a reliever who got called up late in the year. Like they didn't really cross paths. Is my only point.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. But he did play. I mean, he was a player on the team, and they sort of know the market, and they know the area, and they know the ownership group. I think that's the other part of it too. Is that there's more of I don't know what the word is. We're in this together, We're both sort of at the whims of this guy who's not letting us do what we want. I think there's maybe a little bit of camaraderie, I guess, in the sense of what they're both going through.
So look, I would have Cora certainly on the list. He's deserving to be on the list, but there's probably just more with this team than we gave it credit for. And you want to talk about Tanner Houck? You brought up Andrew Bailey. Maybe he's on that list. Maybe that's why you would credit Craig Breslow when you vote.
Why can't you give credit to Tanner Houck?
No, that's what I'm saying.
You just want to give credit to Andrew Bailey like he created Tanner?
No, but I'm just saying if you're going to say Houck's breakout was due to coaching and you want to give the manager credit for that, there's also a new pitching coach. I would say maybe Cora just has more than we realize. Maybe there's a more talented roster than we realize. Now, he's had to deal with a lot of injuries, which is why I'd have him on the list. I like that they're back to being aggressive and pushing the envelope and to use their word that they're now pushing out on social media, creating havoc. I give Cora a lot of credit for that, although I still don't know where it went in the month of May. And so he should definitely be on the list. Those are just reasons I wouldn't have him at the top of the list. I would credit the players over the manager personally. But again, you can vote at Jones and Mego on Twitter. Who's the biggest story of the Red Sox season? Durant?
Again, like with the Cora thing, I feel like Cora might be the most recognizable piece of the Red Sox right now to a casual fan. And so there's a little more drama there of is he going to stay or is he going to go? Like, I think if you talk to casual fans who are just starting to turn on Red Sox games because the NBA is over and the summer is slowing down, they're going to be like, Jarren Duran, he's like a young guy who's been here for a little bit. I don't know that much about him.
So your vote is what again?
Tanner Houck.
Got it. Your vote is Houck. Okay, so the options are Houck, Duran, Cora,
Cora's
Breslow.
my VP, though.
They're up now at Jones and Mego on Twitter. It's our big question of the day, big Q at 2. We start every show with it here live at Fenway Park. We'll get to your phone calls in a moment at 617-779-7937. Here's another feather in the cap for Cora. This is Cora pregame yesterday, which has turned into something that I feel is very noteworthy. Like on Saturday, Cora was talking about how Duran didn't want to be out of the lineup. And he talked his way into the lineup, and then he goes out and single-handedly steals him a game. Robs a home run catch, scores the go-ahead run, hits a home run earlier in that game, has a monster game. So Cora talked about that pregame on Saturday. Here's Cora pregame last night, and check a little box in your head for all these things that played out on the field against the Jays at Fenway.
We got something good going as far as like developing players. We've been very loud and clear what we want to do. Just stay with the plans and make them better. That's all we can do. I feel like if we keep pitching, we're going to be in the hunt. We will. And this is something that, we talk about it in spring training, that we were going to be able to pitch this year. Obviously, we go as far as our defense, and we can improve. And still, I think one of our best hitters, and, he's, whenever he comes, this lineup is going to be more dangerous. So the brand of baseball that we play, I do believe you avoid the 5-game losing streak because you will steal a game, kind of like we did in Cincinnati, with athleticism and putting pressure on the opposition. And, so far so good, but we still got a long ways to go.
Okay, so long ways to go. He thinks they'll be in the hunt, but check all those boxes. He talks about development at the big league level, Duran. He talks about how they're going to pitch well. I said earlier, I don't think last night was Houck's best night, but it was good. It was another good performance. It certainly wasn't bad out of Tanner Houck last night, so check that box. Their brand of baseball. Rafaela gets on because he's speeding down the line, and the guy bobbles the ball. He then advances on a balk and comes around to score on a ball that I don't know that a lot of guys score on, right? I mean, that gets to the outfield, but you're putting pressure on Springer to make an accurate throw. He didn't. I think Rafaela's speed was an impact there. Never mind what you've seen with Duran and Romy Gonzalez and David Hamilton and other guys like that. Okay? On top of that, he talks about their defense. Great defense again last night, despite an error from Hamilton. And so I just think that's kind of how it played out. And if they keep doing it, they are going to be in the hunt, as he puts it.
Yeah, I thought though at the beginning when he's talking about the pitching, I wonder if that was like a little bit of a hint to here's something that we want more of at the deadline as it's coming up, because It felt like, okay, 2 seasons ago, I think it was, that they were really playing for the trade deadline.
Yep.
They were really gunning to get something. And now I think Cora is just putting it a little bit more on Front Street. Like, yeah, everybody enjoy the winning. We're not perfect. Like, we're great. We're really fun. We'll be able to avoid losing streaks, but he's like, but we're not going to be able to avoid losing. We're going to lose some of these games that we're not supposed to.
I don't want to tell Alex Cora how to do his job, but you're going to have to be a little bit more assertive than that, I think. You can't be like dropping subtle hints about, hey, we'd really like a starting pitcher. Like, you're going to have to march up and down the dugout holding up a sign demanding a pitcher.
The highest paid player on the team has done that.
Right.
Devers has done that. Kenley Jansen, their all-star closer, has done that. I'm sure there's more players I'm forgetting about that have done that. And so, I don't even know if it'll make it different. I really don't think you're going to get
have to be like the climate protesters, just going out to the Green Monster and spraying crap all over it, or like handcuffing themselves to the bench.
This is what we need.
What are they doing out there, Linda?
This is
my
truly
beautiful ballpark.
It's Antifa.
What we need baseball isn't boring to be doing. Get Bradfo out there. Maybe he just runs out into,
Their
center
movement
field.
is strong right now, yeah.
Has a big banner up. Starting pitcher.
Real strong brand.
Bradfo, the cult leader.
So you can jump in. On the Red Sox.
And then on the backside it says McFarland.
You can jump in on the Red Sox, which I think is a big story in Boston today. It's not the only big story. Arcand, you're going to have details coming up and trending. I just want to squeeze this in quickly, and we'll get to it. Linus Allmark dealt from the Bruins. All I got to say is, thank God. Like that. Thank God that's done. That's over
Our
with.
national nightmare is over.
I was very, very, very fearful they were going to run out of teams. They had run out of spots to trade him because I never thought he'd waive his no movement to go to Ottawa. But he did. He's there. Good riddance. That'd be my quick thought on Allmark. I know we'll go into this deeper later coming up, but that'd be my quick thought on him.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think that the return stinks so much that I am still waiting to see if there's possibly any other shoe to drop, because right now it just looks like they were so desperate to get him out of the building.
Good.
It wasn't even a complete salary dump.
Should be.
Like, it wasn't even like you could look at it and say, well, they're doing the best thing to, be able to go and then pay I'm having a complete blank. Swayman and all the defensemen that they want to re-sign to prevent them from walking. Like, instead, they absorb somebody else's salary. It doesn't look like the smartest move, but I agree with you. It's the right one not to have him in the building anymore.
Okay. Arcand, I know you agree with that analysis. They didn't get enough in the trade.
I think the return sucks.
I'll put a pin in the Allmark conversation for a moment, but you're going to want to stick around to hear the analogy that Arcand has for this trade, because I was I fell out of my chair when I read it earlier. So we'll get to your phone call, 617-779-7937. That's how you get in touch with Jones and Mego live today at Fenway Park, taking you up to Red Sox and Jays. What's the biggest story in the start to the Red Sox season? You can vote at Jones and Mego. Is it Jarren Duran? My vote. Is it Tanner Houck? Mego and Arcand's vote. Is it Cora? Right now, nobody's vote. Don't tell him when he comes on tomorrow. Or Craig Breslow. Again, you can vote there. We'll get into the Red Sox, their approach at the trade deadline. If John Henry actually made a move, which he won't. What does this team actually even need? What's at the top of the needs list for the Red Sox?